Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Dad drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Bwaaa, King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, welcome to Friday.
Yeah, that ain't right, man. It's a Friday.
Yeah, today we are entering a bit of a Twilight Zone type feel here.
I'm gonna say we're getting down into some like nitty gritty science here. We're gonna do some geographical sciences here.
All right, so give me the lowdown. What are we
Okay,
probing
so
today?
In this wild quest that I have dove down into, so you get into these rabbit holes now of King of the Hill stuff, and it gets deep. It gets really deep. You've got college kids, a decade or more ago that have done different studies and stuff. Like one study that I found was about toxic masculinity and Hank's influence on Bobby and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then one that I came across that I thought would be good for us today was
Toxic masculinity and Peggy's influence on Bobby.
yeah. She's probably more masculine than Hank in ways. But so I came across something from the Oklahoma State University Department of Geography. It was a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he did a study pretty much where he broke down different episodes and he went through them and he did geography of King of the Hill and where is Arlen physically located.
I think
because they treat driving to Houston like it takes hours.
Yeah.
But they also treat driving to Mexico like it's no big deal at
And
all.
driving
right,
to Lubbock is no
right.
big deal and stuff like that. So
Which if you live in
there's,
Texas, it doesn't work like that.
no,
yeah,
it does not work that
no. It
way.
doesn't
You're
work
right.
like that at
Yeah.
all. Okay, so we'll go ahead and break it down city by city. Like geographic distances for travel in the show. So
We before you do that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
to
no, go
interrupt you,
ahead,
but,
go ahead.
But before you do that, we are located in what they call Central Texas, which they always show on a Texas map that we're like where the heart is, right?
And for those of that don't know, we were what is considered a coastal plain area.
We are halfway between Austin and Dallas, right? We're about 3 hours away from San Antonio, about 3 hours away from Houston.
Yeah, give or take.
Right?
Yeah.
So hour and a half to Dallas, 2 hours to Fort Worth-ish.
But toll roads it's more
Yeah.
like 2.5 these days.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely, in its day, back in 60 mile an hour, definitely 3 hour
Yeah.
drive easy.
But,
4 hours to like the other side of
it
Houston,
could be,
like to Galveston. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, even the other side of Dallas could take
Yeah,
you 3
it
hours
could take you
to
3
get
hours
there.
too. Yeah.
When I was no, you go ahead. Never mind.
Well, I was just going to say to your point, Mason. You were saying it doesn't work that way. We can get to Oklahoma faster than we can get out of Texas other directions.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
The state's too damn big.
It is very big.
It is
yeah.
a very big
I
state.
love Texas.
You can drive all day and not get through Texas. I mean, that is if you're driving from one tip to the next. And the thing is, you can drive from what's basically the coast of Mexico all the way up into the Panhandle where it's snowing. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
That could be within a day or two.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
It's definitely
anyway, that just kind of gives everybody.
we're 8 hours from everywhere where we're at.
Pretty
So
much,
we're,
yeah.
like where we're at, you're closer to Louisiana, but you're 8 hours from Mexico.
Yeah.
It's 8 hours to Brownsville,
which
is the Mexican
Oh,
border. It's 8
Brownsville.
hours to El Paso, which is as far as you can go, and it's about 9 or 10 hours to the top of the Panhandle. But
Yeah.
Amarillo's like 8 hours, so
I
we're
used
like
to-
8 hours from anywhere where we live.
He used to have to drive to that Brownsville type area for work.
Oh yeah, I've been down there a few times for work as well.
You can get to New Orleans faster than you can get to El Paso.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. It's nuts.
So diving into it, one of the things is the first location clue, as he calls it. So in several episodes, Austin is portrayed as a modest distance from Arlen. So for instance, you got season 5 where Hank and his friends leave Arlen at 5 p.m. and they arrive in Austin in time for dinner. So if dinner's in between 5:30 and say 7, it only took them about 45 to 90 minutes to get to Austin. So there's only so many places you could be, and he does have graphics here, and so he does like a moon shape.
Okay.
So you're like 45 minutes from Austin inside of this ring, if you will.
Gotcha.
So he
Sure.
had like a buffer, is what it's called. So
45 minutes from Austin.
So it could really be.
That's what you said?
I mean, 45 minutes from Austin. So that could be. I mean, there's tons of places that could be. I mean, Arlen could be near Waco, Killeen, Bryan College Station, San Antonio, because the outskirts of all those places are about 45 minutes from Austin.
And
Also, if I don't know if he mentions this because it's not really geographical, but in several like football related episodes, they mention how they play Belton frequently.
oh, that's true.
And
Yeah, that's actually one of the. He actually mentions that in here. Yeah. He mentions the town of Belton, but he also mentions Bobby riding his bike to Willie Nelson's ranch, which Willie Nelson's ranch is in Abbott, which is like 45 minutes from where we're at. And 45 minutes, I'm sorry, is not a bike ride at 45 minutes when you're
To
doing
Belton.
60 mile an hour.
That's an
No,
exercise.
no, Bobby riding from Arlen to Willie Nelson's ranch.
Yeah, but you said they play Belton, right?
Yeah.
That's
They
what you said?
play football. They
And how-
mentioned Belton on several occasions for
But
sports
like,
stuff.
how large are those areas that like? I think Belton's what 3A, something like that, right?
No, Belton's like a 4A, 5A.
Are they 4A,
Yeah, they're
5A?
like 4A, 5A. They're huge. Belton is because it's right there by Killeen and all that. And they have a lot of military. It might be a 3A, but
I don't even know.
But
to
I
be
think it's
honest
a
with you.
4A.
If
but,
I had to guess,
for
I
those
would've said
for those of
3.
you that don't know, the A system
Yeah.
is generally how you
That's-
rate schools on size.
Well, that's true. I guess they don't have a lot of that outside of our state. There's
at
probably
least,
other
at least
ways.
as far as I know. I mean, I don't know if they do. They might. We
Yeah.
might be
I
preaching
mean,
to the
Belton
choir.
played University November of last year. So
yeah.
it's-
So Belton played University. University's a 5A.
So I mean, they could
So
be
they're
in our
5A.
district.
Belton is
I don't know
is what, about 30 minutes from us, right?
35,
Give or take.
40,
35,
yeah.
40 minutes. Yeah,
Give or
okay.
take.
All right, so they are about as far as Arlen is from Willie Nelson's ranch, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that if Arlen is within bike distance of Willie Nelson's ranch, Arlen is in Central Texas.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
so going through some more stuff, let's go to the next one here. So the next one is about Peggy Hill visiting Lubbock. She mentions it when she goes to get her big ass shoes, and
Your feet are big.
Yeah, your feet are big. So paddling Peggy. So Peggy rushes Hank and Bobby away on that camping trip so she could spend the day driving to Lubbock and then stay in a motel.
Yeah.
And then purchase her shoes at 9 a.m. the next morning. So given that, like, you could guess it's probably anywhere from a 5 to 7 hour drive at 55 to 56 miles an hour. So then you put a buffer around from Lubbock, like the Lubbock buffer, if you will. And that Lubbock buffer pretty much puts her, again, anywhere from El Paso in a moon shape, of course. So outskirts of San Antonio, outskirts of Austin, again, Killeen, Waco. Those are like in this half moon thing. But then also you got Dallas, Louisville, Denton.
What's weird to me
Sherman
though
and Denison
is
as
that,
well.
Didn't Mike Judge grow up in like Plano or somewhere like that?
Richardson.
Richardson.
Yeah,
Okay.
he grew up in
Okay.
in the Richardson area, which is that area actually. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's that north central Dallas area.
Huh.
Waco to Lubbock, 5.5 hours. According to Google.
Woof.
I don't know
No,
geography.
you're right. No, you're right. Yeah, that's probably as the crow flies, right? Or is that driving? As the crow flies.
That's walking.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's walking. It's walking in Peggy's shoes.
no, is when I say 5.5 hours driving, that's the drive time there for the road.
Yeah.
5.5 hours as the crow flies is a straight line from Waco to Lubbock.
For the most part, yeah. I think
Gosh,
you do
Mason,
like
don't
one
you know
turn.
that all crows fly straight?
Why don't
Well,
you
that's
like
just, that's
shut
just,
up?
That's, I wonder if they say that anywhere else as the crow flies. Is that a southern thing? I don't know.
I think it is a very.
So yeah, so Lubbock again puts them in the
don't you shut up?
plausibility of them living in our area, living in
Yeah,
this
very
area.
much
So
so,
this is
yeah.
what we're doing here. So the Central Texas area is what they're pretty much trying to say they are. Again,
Yeah, they're right around here somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere for
Troy.
sure.
They live in Troy.
Troy, yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible. So in
Arlen equals Troy. Done. See you later.
yeah. So for the next one, you've got in season 7 an episode called Queasy Rider, and I think that's when Hank and Peggy go to South Dakota, maybe on the motorcycles. I think that's an episode. I'm not
Maybe.
really sure. Easy Rider is a motorcycle movie, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably
Peter
what it is.
Fonda.
I'm gonna say that it was the motorcycle episode, but that's season 7. That's way out of my mind. I'm not even thinking about season 7 yet. So Peggy states at the Oklahoma state line on I-35 when they get there that Hank had been driving all morning. So they were previously shown waving goodbye to their friends in the morning, approximately 8 in the morning. So we can assume that, again, 3 to 5 hour buffer, 55 to 65 mile an hour is the reasonable buffer. And if we do that buffer around the Oklahoma-Texas border, again, Waco, Killeen, Bryan College Station,
Yeah.
Abilene, further that direction, outskirts of Wichita Falls, like the Vider area, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff area, like around there. And then the other part of it is like Longview, Tyler, and Texarkana. So again, the common denominator is Waco, Killeen, Bryan College Station.
According to just for everyone, I'm just using Waco as a
point of
base.
reference,
I'm not. I should do Killeen and Temple maybe.
No,
but,
Waco's a good point of reference because that's where we are.
Waco to border of Oklahoma is just under or just above 3 hours.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I knew that is because my parents used to go there for their penny slots.
Yeah.
All
My
the
dad
time.
and my
Oh, they used to go to the Choctaw Reservation on the other side. Yeah.
yeah. My dad and my mom told me about when they would go when they were still together. They would go up to visit my grandmother on my mom's side in Lawton, and then drive down to go see my grandmother in
Lawton?
Houston.
Oh, Lawton,
Yeah.
Oklahoma?
Yeah. Shout out Grandma Rose. She's not
Shout out
listening to
Grandma
this.
Rose. Grandma Rose is not with us anymore?
Oh no, she's still here. She's
Oh.
still living.
Oh,
Very much
She's just
alive.
not here
Oh,
with us right now.
yeah.
Okay.
She's not in the room with us, but
All right.
shout out to Grandma.
Well, shout out Grandma Rose.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next one is...
That was going to get real sad real
Yeah,
quick
it
if
is,
she
isn't
was
it?
dead.
Yeah, it would have went left. Thank
All
you for
of-
being alive, Grandma.
By the way, Mason, all of mine are dead, so it's okay.
Well, most of mine are. I have a 90-something-year-old grandmother.
Yeah?
She's 90... Born in 1928.
She's your grandmother?
Yeah, my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Can
Yeah,
I make?
I just didn't
can I
know
make-
maybe you just picked one up.
Well, my
somewhere
dad's
or whatever.
dad was probably born before your dad.
Yeah.
My dad's dad was born in 1912.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was
So-
definitely born before my
Yeah,
father. Yes,
so
thank
my-
you very much for that.
Yeah. No, well, your dad's still with us, correct?
Remember that Spanish-American War we had that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, that I mean,
Yes, my father is in this city.
in the
Yes.
city. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
As
my
far
dad
as I
is-
know, as of about 12 hours ago, he was alive.
Well, my dad's buried in the city, but no, actually he's in Dawson. He's buried
Oh,
in
okay.
Dawson. But no, he's no longer.
A beautiful
of course,
creek
he would be well over 110, 12, 13 years old.
Why are you guys looking at me?
I don't know, man. You the one brought up
They were just
grandma's.
staring at
I
me.
don't know.
Well,
For some reason.
well, no, honestly, that's why I feel. I was raised differently than a lot of
Mason's
kids from
like,
my
I gotta tint
generation.
this glass or
Yeah.
something.
Well, that's why I'm a little different than most kids from my generation because I was raised a little
Sure.
differently. Because
Well,
my
you-
dad,
older parents, yeah.
My dad, older parents that were raised by, like my dad was raised by a man who was born in 1912. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
by the time he had my dad, he was in his 50s. So
Yeah.
he was already, like a grizzled old man at that point. But yeah, so Wichita Falls is the next city. So Wichita Falls, from where we're at, puts it in a buffer for Arlen because he says that Wichita Falls is about 6 hours away. So again, if
Wait,
you do the
who
math
says that?
in the show, Hank's Cowboy Movie
Hank
season
does say
3.
it's about 6
Okay.
hours away.
Then it
Okay.
can't
That
be.
Hank states that Wichita Falls, Texas, is about 6 hours away from Arlen.
Yeah.
Okay, that changes everything because they have
Kind
to be
of.
closer to Houston because Waco to Wichita Falls is 3 hours.
Yeah.
Three and a
if
half.
if you move to a cleaner temple, it'd be what, an extra maybe 45
Yeah,
minutes.
maybe.
So
Yeah.
maybe we got to go more.
So
south.
Killeen would be
Troy.
would be in that circle. No, Killeen, Bryan College Station. No, Troy's out of that circle.
Yeah, I got
actually,
you.
Troy's a little
Sure,
higher.
sure.
So Killeen, Bryan College Station, and Austin would be in the buffer for the Wichita Falls buffer.
Yeah.
The Wichita Falls buffer also has Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland, San Angelo, Longview, Texarkana. But again, it puts you in that Killeen, Central Texas
I kind
area.
of feel like that, they just went, okay, small town Texas, and they just did it, right?
That probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And what season was that from?
Well, you got to think the highest population of small town Texas is
Which
in the
one?
Central Texas area.
The one where they go mention Wichita Falls because I'm trying
what
I
episode
tried
is
just
that from?
Odessa to Wichita Falls.
Season 3 Hank's cowboy movie, so it's one we're going to be
so it's
hitting
coming
soon.
up. Yeah, okay.
So I tried Odessa to Wichita Falls, and that's like way south from us, and that's only
17 hours.
that's just that's
Well, he
just
said
under
about
5
6
hours.
away. So what the guy did in his study here, he did because it's 4.5 to 6 hours is what he called about 6 hours away, 4.5 to 6 hours. And then he said you got to think about speed as well. And in the 90s, it was 55 to 65 miles an hour is what
Yeah,
you were
sure.
doing. You weren't
Right.
doing the 80, 90 mile an hour you do nowadays. You see people doing that.
Right.
They weren't really
Right.
It was a lot slower back then for sure.
Yeah, speed limit was 13 and a half.
So the max buffer is 6 hours for reasonable, but Hank is always portrayed as a very careful, slow
Oh, yeah.
driver.
yeah.
A guy that's not in a rush to get anywhere.
He's definitely not using the fast lane for anything
No.
but passing, and that's only under an emergency.
Yeah, because if you take 65, add 5 miles an hour to it, that's not Hank. Hank's
I
not
drove
adding
back
5.
from Temple about 30 minutes ago, and I was doing about 95 all the way back.
And you were
So-
you were in the flow though.
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, I did almost die. Just letting you guys know
Oh, that's
that
not
I
good.
did almost die getting here because there was a plastic bag on the freeway. And I don't know if you know this, but state law says if there's a plastic bag on the freeway, everybody on the freeway stops.
Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
Everybody stopped.
Or
they
they're
stopped for a
supposed
plastic
to, or-
bake?
No, I'm making that up.
Oh.
Everybody
were
on the
rubbernecking.
highway freaking stopped for
That's
a
not
plastic
good.
bag.
Yeah, no, you
yeah.
gotta blow
So
through
I
it.
mean, I literally had to. You know that move where you're about to hit somebody in the back of their car and you have to go over to the side thing?
Yeah.
That's what I had to do.
Oh, wow.
Because everybody was just like, "Arr, it's a plastic bag. Dear God, what are we supposed to do?
Blow through it. Come on, guys. This is Texas.
listener who happened to be driving in front of mine.
You know what it
Wait,
was?
that was
Somebody
mine?
was probably
Plastic apocalypse.
texting on their phone and then looked up and they were like, "Oh, what's that?" And then they hit their brakes. And when one person hits their
Well,
brakes,
One of
it
those
ruins the whole- it
one of
causes
those
traffic
vehicles
jams.
was an 18-wheeler too, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to lose my head.
No, you don't.
My head is something I'm trying to keep.
Well, they have those bars that they're mandatory. They're called DOT bars or something on the trucks.
Oh, yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
used to have them, and
Yeah.
people kept crashing into them, and they made it mandatory.
Yeah, that'll keep your head on.
Yeah. So to go back to season 2,
My cousin did that one time.
Oh, he
he
did?
ran under a semi.
Oh, that's not good.
He fell asleep.
Mm.
The only thing that saved him is that he was asleep because drunk people and sleep people in cars don't get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know?
they're all
they're rubber bones.
yeah. They just
And and the other thing is he went under it and they were going the same direction. It would have
Yeah.
been different had the diesel been coming at him or something. You know?
yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I just
So,
got off on a decapitation thing.
No, that's cool. No, I like that. I like a little
little decapitation in the morning.
what is it called? Final Destination.
That's right.
Yeah. So 3 days of Condo, season 2, when they
Yeah.
go to the resort.
Yeah.
You got the Hills and their neighbors.
That's
they
when they go
travel
to
all the way to
Mexico,
a
right?
coastal
Yeah.
Mexican resort, assuming that they went to Brownsville, that area. That area. They went,
Yeah.
across the border there and in that resort on the other side.
Right.
They estimate that buffer would be between 7 to 9 hours at 55 to 65 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I know from experience, you hit Highway 77 and you just drive all the way down Highway 77 to get to Brownsville, and it takes you 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours, depending on if you got to stop for fuel or not. Because
that just sounds like the worst thing.
once you get down there, there's a certain spot that you get to that it tells you get gas, because there's no gas stations for like 100 plus miles. So.
Yeah. No, there are some places, man,
Out west too, there's places like that.
Oh, hell yeah. You have to drive for like 3 hours just to find an exit.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't matter if you have half a tank or 3/4
No,
you
fill up.
It
Fill up,
doesn't
buddy.
matter how much
Yep.
gas you have.
Yep.
If you're driving that way, you fill up.
You know, they have frequent flyer miles. We need frequent driver miles.
I agree.
I agree, yeah.
Especially
Well,
Rusty. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, they do have gas cards that you get that bonus points
Yeah.
for and
Yeah.
stuff. You get flyer miles and stuff for them. Actually, it's funny that you get flyer miles for like credit card points or whatever
for driving.
to be able to fly.
Yeah.
So that's the final 6. There was only 6 clues that he had. So
All right,
with
so
all
give
those
me
clues,
give me those 6 clues one more time. Just
Okay.
run through them real quick.
So we had Austin being 45 to 90 minutes away from Arlen at 55 to 60 miles an hour.
Okay.
Then you had Lubbock being 5 to 7 hours away at 55 to 65 miles per hour.
Okay.
Then you had the Oklahoma State line on I-35 being 3 to 5 hours away at 55 to 65 miles an hour.
Okay.
Then you had what's the next one? Oh, I missed this one. Houston. That's one we didn't discuss. So Hank's father lives 3 hours away, is what they say 3 hours away in Houston in the show. So that's Old as the Hills. That's coming up.
Oh, wait.
So it's about a buffer of 2 to 4 hours
One
to
more
allow
time
for driving
One
variations.
more time. Lubbock was how far?
Oh, Lubbock was 5 to 7.
Okay.
So Lubbock's 5 to 7. Oklahoma State line is 3 to 5. Houston is 2 to 4 is the buffer they give.
Mike's Troy thing might not be too far off.
This
he's not.
literally puts them in Waco.
It
is what
does
it does.
almost.
Basically
It almost puts them in Waco.
Until
Yeah.
you get to the episodes where Peggy takes a field trip to Mexico.
That's right.
Which would never happen because that's just
Never.
an 8-hour drive.
It's 8 hours on
just
a
to
bus
get
with
to
kids.
the
Yeah.
border.
That's right.
Yeah, it would be a day trip. Not
Yeah.
it wouldn't be just a day trip. It would be we're going down here for the weekend kind of thing.
It's those Elon Musk tunnels.
Yeah, those Elon Musk tunnels.
Yeah.
So Wichita Falls is the next one, and it says about 6 hours away, but they give it a buffer between 4.5 to 6, depending on driving variations.
Yeah.
And then the next one is Brownsville being 7 to 9 miles away, but also other clues, some smaller clues. Belton, because they mentioned Belton,
Right.
so it's a town near
Right.
Belton. Bobby riding his bike to Willie Nelson's ranch.
That's a big one right
that's
there.
a stretch. So
Well, when you think about that and Houston and Lubbock, those are like the triangulation for me, right?
yeah,
Lubbock is literally about 5 hours away from here.
yeah, for sure.
Houston is definitely 3 hours away from here.
Yeah, easy.
And
You could be in downtown Houston
the
in 2.5
only
hours.
thing is Bobby being able to ride his bike to Willie Nelson's, and you said it's in where?
What's that?
Where's Willie Nelson's?
Oh, Willie
Farm.
Nelson is in Abbott.
Abbott. That's
yeah,
right.
which is right
So-
up the. It's
Still smoking barbecue, all that
yeah,
stuff.
it's
right?
off the
That's where that's
highway.
at.
It's
Yeah.
off the highway
Yeah.
off I-35, but it's north of Hillsboro.
Yeah, yeah. We went through there yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
north,
not
like northeast of Hillsboro.
Yeah, man. I'm putting them in. Where did Hype Miller Steakhouse used to be? The original one.
Oh, Elmont,
I'm putting them about Elmont-ish,
Elmontish.
something like that.
Yeah, that's the north,
You
north
know?
area. Yeah, yeah.
That's not.
That's
not
too far. That's not too far. That's a hell of a bike ride.
It is a hell of a bike ride.
Either way.
and maybe you push them a little further towards.
And let's see
Abbott,
what the distance
but
actually
still.
is. Let's see what Elmont to Abbott is.
But that's still 3 hours to Houston. Still 5 hours to Lubbock. You know, I don't know that.
Hey,
that
that's a
just
15-minute drive.
See, there you go.
Sorry. It's not north of
15
Hillsboro.
minutes.
It's north of west.
Yes, it is north of west.
North
You're
of
right.
west,
You're
not
right.
Hillsboro.
Because we stopped for those fine kolaches.
Well, actually, since we're talking about
at
Willie Nelson,
Slavacek's,
Is
where
his
the
ranch
pigs love each other.
Is his ranch the Luck Ranch? Or-
yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's in Abbott.
Sorry,
so,
you're misreading that. That's an F.
there's actually a picture somewhere. My dad and them were rocking some profane when they were younger,
Yeah.
and they were always in honky tonks and drinking places
Sure,
and stuff like
sure.
that. And his kinfolk lived in the area because my dad's from Elmont West area. So when he was growing up, he knew cousins of Willie Nelson's. There's a picture somewhere. I've seen it. If I can procure it, I'll bring it and show you.
Yeah.
But it's Willie Nelson in my grandma's backyard.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Willie Nelson used to show up in a lot of people's backyards, though, to be fair.
Yeah, back in the day. No, he was
He would
definitely
just show,
everywhere.
you
He
just
would
go out and
gamble.
he'd be in your backyard.
Well, he got arrested in Waco,
Yep.
in Hewitt area. So what happened was in that story is he had left his house in Austin, drove to Hillsboro to go gamble.
Yeah.
With his buddy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
people everywhere he knows is the Hillsboro
Well, this is
West
when he was
area,
still drinking
Elmont
and
area.
stuff,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
still riding
yeah.
around drinking.
Yeah.
Well, he stopped on the side of the road here in Waco on the interstate, just pulled over and
Yeah.
fell asleep
Yeah.
and had weed on him. And being King Willie, Parnell McNamara goes up there, lets him out the back door kind of thing, lets him out of jail.
Yeah.
And the cop ends up getting fired for arresting him for weed.
Crazy.
Yeah, but it is
Yeah,
what
it's
it
according
is.
to who you are. It's not what you did.
Yeah, no. But you know.
So let me ask you
he's
this: Texas is a it's a huge state. Lots of driving, right? We do a lot of driving here.
Lot of
We
driving.
don't do a lot of walking around. We don't do a lot of bike riding.
No,
and stuff like
and we
that.
don't
I mean,
say,
things
"Oh, I'm
happen.
driving." Well, like,
Well, also the way the cities are built, they just don't
Right,
really.
right. They're built for
prefer
driving.
that.
yeah, but you go to
Yes.
some places and they measure it in distance. They're like, "Oh yeah, I got to drive 30 miles." We don't do that. We measure our distance in time. So it's like, "Oh yeah, I got a 6-hour drive." And when someone tells you that, you're like, "Oh, you going to Amarillo?
Yeah.
You going to the Lubbock area? Where the heck are you going to go anywhere else that's you take 6 hours to drive?" You think like once you know the state as well as you know, especially somebody who's driven all over it. I drive it every day, and you just become familiar with the time. Somebody says, "Oh, I'm driving. Yeah, I got a 3-hour drive," and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, where are you going?
Yeah.
Louisiana, Oklahoma border,
Right.
that kind
Right.
of thing. San
So
Antonio."
what I was going to ask though is, how do you think Hank would feel about a bullet train?
How would Hank feel about a bullet train?
Because I've
I
always
think Hank-
wanted a bullet train here. They've talked about it and flirted with
It'd
it
be a
many, many times.
catch-22.
Did they get-
It would be a come to Jesus episode for Hank. I feel
Yeah.
like because Hank would be upset about all the you're gonna have to go and do a lot
Well, it's
of
like taking your freedom away, right?
Well-
because you're stuck on this train. But what if the bullet train was propane powered?
Well, that's the thing is the thing
I mean, that would
Hank
make-
would be upset about would be something even before the train is even built.
Yeah.
Hank would be upset about eminent domain and the government coming in and taking people's property to build this, because that's a big uproar about even building one in Texas. Texas is privately owned 100%. There is no public lands, so to speak, of like Bureau of Land Management lands in Texas.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No. Just I was just make a joke. As a person who owns nothing, I would love a bullet train, but I
Yeah,
also own
no
nothing,
kidding,
so
right?
I don't care.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's when it comes to cutting up people's properties and you're taking you're gonna have to take out a house, you're gonna have to take out somebody's business, somebody's barn, and you don't know how
A lot of
long
people
some of
get
these
screwed
things.
over.
Yeah, a lot of people get screwed over, and you don't know how long some of these buildings they got to tear down. You might have a 200-year-old barn that's been that people have been using for 200 years. That's got to be torn down. Those
How
kind
many
of things
babies
come
have
into
been made in
factor.
that barn, man? You don't understand.
All those kind of things come into factor. So I think Hank would be upset by all of the things it took to build the train, but I think if it ran on propane and it was efficient,
Yeah.
because Hank is about
Yeah.
efficiency. If it gets you somewhere efficiently, I
I
think he
think
wouldn't
Dale
mind.
would have a bigger problem with it because
Oh,
it would
Dale
be
would
some sort of
definitely.
government conspiracy or whatever. But
Well, again, the
I think
government
Hank
taking your
could get
property
with
too.
it, because like he is willing to try the motorcycles out. He's willing to get on the mopeds in Mexico, all that other stuff. I think he would come around to it,
Yeah.
especially if it was made with some sort of clean burning fuel like that.
I think he would because
I mean,
of
it wouldn't be
what
propane,
it would
but
mean
still.
what it would mean to him as far as the propane thing. But again, like it's really hard for me to think that Hank would be okay with people losing their property by the
Well,
government taking it away from them.
That's
'Cause
true.
They
That
never
would-
give you what it's worth.
That would be a thing. What I was more referring to was the fact that you're kind of taking away your freedom of just being able to jump in your car and go wherever you want to. If
Well,
you're
that's
going on
it,
a
yeah,
trip.
yeah.
But still, man, if I could get to Houston in an hour, oof, that would change my entire way of living.
Actually, no, though,
Yeah, it
I
could.
don't think I
That's-
could do that. Then my parents and grandparents would always be like, "Hey, you have no excuse.
Yeah.
It's just an hour drive."
Yeah.
Well, it's
You
like
just-
that in England. You know, it's the way the
You just
like
have to-
public transportation is set up. You could literally be, you know, I lived in Manchester, so you're near Liverpool and stuff like that. So you could get on a train. You could be in Liverpool, hang out in Liverpool all day, hop on a train and be home by dinner
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's
Well, I know up north, you know, a lot of
It's
people
not a
take
bullet
trains
train,
to
you
work
know.
and Chicago and all those areas. I
They're
mean,
big in
one
Japan.
one
Sure.
thing that is
I'm big
really
in Japan.
like. One thing I think that is terrible about Texas is the fact we don't have a very good passenger train system.
we really don't. We've got Amtrak, but
And
Or
I
just
think we should.
public transportation in general.
yeah, it's true.
Well, we could go back. We go back a
We
little
have the
bit
piss
since we're sitting
buses
here.
here.
While we're
I mean, they're good, but they're so
Get
few
on a-
in between.
Get on a
and-
nice piss bus and
Yeah.
take you right
while we're
across.
sitting here, Waco used to have an interurban.
Interurban.
It was called the Interurban. It was a train that would go from Dallas, and it had a couple of stops along the way, and it would go between Waco and Dallas. And there was
Really?
a few other cities
Is
that
that
would
what-
go on too. And
Is that what all those tracks are
Belmead,
downtown?
Yeah, it was some of the tracks downtown. And Belmead actually was the big rail hub.
Ah.
Belmead started out as a rail yard.
Belmead used to be something.
Well, that's all it was
Huh.
at one time. It was for the steam engines. Back then, you used to have a huge, elaborate setup
Now
to work
Belmead
on the
is
trains.
now Belmead is where Sam's is.
Where
that's
Sam's
pretty
is
much
at.
what's-
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Well, it's
pretty much what
actually,
Belmead
it's actually
Lots of hotels.
its percentage of growth right now is like it's a
but
a
it's
very
but
very
it's all growing
city.
right on 35. It's not growing.
It's
off.
growing up Loop 340.
Is it?
Yeah, it's growing up Loop 340 both ways.
Okay.
Up like the lake shore, up towards the industrial
Yeah.
area right there. And then it's growing up because they've got businesses where the skate country is or whatever. They've filled that whole area in. They've got
Skate country.
they got that road behind Home Depot now, and they're
Yeah.
filling all that in. They're developing all that. Lacey Lakeview,
all of
up
this
a little
is
bit.
all
so-
this is fascinating for people who don't know where Belmead
But
is.
people do know where Belmead is because I got a comment on YouTube.
Really?
We talked about the Blue Bonnet Cafe, and somebody was like,
Oh man,
they closed down that Blue Bonnet Cafe.
that's fantastic.
That's exactly what they said. It made me laugh because I'm like, Blue Bonnet Cafe has been closed for a long
There used to be
while.
a place in Belmead. It was a little burger joint. You know where Molly's is?
It's called Christie's. It's
It
still
was
there.
Christie's.
It's still there.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is it's gone through many owners. Right. Christie's is now owned by a different family that used to own it. One of my best friends' parents used to own that place.
Oh, before it was Christie's?
Yeah. Well, we would go there all the time. I had a friend that worked there, or that family owned part of that, and then I had a friend whose dad was part of Bill and Bob's. Remember Bill and Bob's Burgers
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
over on 18th and
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
other
yeah.
places? Yeah.
I like Bob's Burgers.
Bob's
good
is
show.
Bob's is different.
It's different,
I had
but it's a good show.
so I saw.
There's a recipe book.
I will tell you this: one of the shows that I really want to start is something based on the Neighborhood app. Right?
Oh,
You ever use the Neighborhood app?
I have. That shit's wild. It's funny.
Neighborhood app will tell you where all the coyotes are. Number one.
Coyotes, like the animal coyote?
Yeah,
or-
yeah. So it's just people in different neighborhoods,
And
and
they
they
tell you
just
who's walking.
comment on
Hey, somebody's
stuff.
walking down the street.
It'll also
Yeah, it's
tell
just weird
you
stuff.
if there's anyone with any color skin that's not white that's walking
In
up and
your
down the street.
neighborhood.
They'll let you
Yeah,
know
they'll tell you in
real
the app.
quick in the neighborhood
Yeah,
app.
they'll tell you in the app. It's crazy. It's crazy how open they are.
Oh.
That's the thing, Mason.
Oh,
is
my
it's
God.
crazy how open they are.
It's even
not realizing
more.
they're on an app that
It's
everybody
even
can
more
see.
than Facebook. It's just like, I'm home all day. I'm gonna vomit into this app.
I
That's
think it's,
really all it is.
Well, and it's
I love the
literally
21st
It's
century.
literally
Oh.
nothing but geriatrics and moms. It's really old
And
people.
me.
And so, well, I'm on there for the
Am
fun.
I the geriatric or the mom?
I'm on there because it's funny.
It is. It's fantastic.
I'm on there for I will. It's called gold mining. I will go wherever the gold is to mine.
You know what? We're gonna test one thing one day before
Yeah.
we got to
Yeah.
end soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear my hoodie and just wear. No, never mind. That's stupid. I want to walk. We're gonna pick a neighborhood. I want to just walk around.
Yeah.
All sus.
Yeah. And,
And then
see
we'll
what
have-
we get.
and then
See what we get. That's
start looking at
fantastic.
people.
I
Start
love
looking at
that.
people's car
Yeah.
windows and stuff.
Yeah, love it. You just, I'm telling you, man, in my neighborhood, you just walk them down the street, they'll let you know on the neighborhood app that
I
somebody
believe it.
Brown's near my house.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's rough. Okay, well, let's wrap this sucker up. Just one real quick story about neighborhood, and then we're done.
neighborhood
okay?
story. Let's do
Neighborhood
it.
app.
Let's do it.
I sat there one day and watched as a cat got eaten by a coyote on Neighborhood app, and the only reason I know this is because, like I said, they'll tell you, oh, I think there's coyotes in the neighborhood. Oh, I think I saw a coyote. Oh, I saw 10 coyotes or whatever, right? If you saw all these coyotes, none of us would be alive because coyotes would have just eaten us all.
Yeah, there's
And they're not
flock of
coyotes. They're like,
coyotes.
oh, there's a dog. It's a coyote. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Well,
Chihuahua. Oh, it's a coyote.
this
It's a
lady,
miniature coyote.
this lady goes on and she posts a picture of her cat, and she's talking about how, her cat got out, she can't find her, blah 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 blah. If anybody can help, reasonable, right? That's a reasonable.
Yeah, that's really
post.
reasonable.
Then you start seeing these posts about coyotes being sighted, right?
I don't want to know how the story ends, man.
It ends with the lady going, oh, I think my cat got eaten by a coyote.
Coyotes,
It was
yeah.
just like you could watch it in real time.
You
It
watch
was just
it
like boom,
happen
boom,
in,
boom, boom, boom.
series of events kind of thing. That's funny.
Anyway, I am not for coyotes eating cats, even though that's the real world and that's the way things happen. Rusty, you want to tell them where they can find us if they want more of this nonsense?
Yeah, we've got a link tree set up for you guys to make it all smooth and easy. So it's linktr.ee/BWAAAKOTH.
Sneaky
So
link.
you can find everything on there. We have a YouTube channel as well that's got the link to it on there. And,
Yeah, how's Artie doing watching those videos?
He's doing great. I appreciate the traffic.
job, Artie. Keep
and,
going.
And also the comments. So yeah, thanks for there's
Oh.
been people commenting on the
More
YouTube videos.
comments, please.
Yeah, I love whoever you are from the Blue Bonnet Cafe.
Oh.
We'll give you a sticker if
heck
if you're
yeah.
in Waco. I'll send you a sticker.
Heck
Just
yeah. Wherever you
just
are, I'll send you a
comment.
sticker.
Yeah, wherever you're at. The guy who mentioned the Blue Bonnet Cafe.
I will
if
tell
you are
you.
hearing this, comment again on the YouTube because I guess that's where you found me. I'll post. Well, he ain't gonna hear this.
I'll
for
tell
about
you
6 months.
if you start commenting on our YouTube videos, then we will send stickers for every one of those comments.
Yeah.
We
No,
just
for
we
sure.
just need good comments. I don't want Baba Booey. I don't want first. I
Yeah,
don't
we just want to hear some
you know,
stuff. Yeah, we just want to see what you guys think about the show. So
I don't want any sort of like, hey,
we actually have
if
an
you join
episode
my
on there.
Amway now, or
We actually have
whatever.
an episode on there. It's almost at like 300 or 400
Nice.
views.
Good. Great.
Season 1, episode 2, and the picture is Bobby Hill's head. So,
I think that's what we stick with. Bobby
Yeah.
Hill's head and Peggy is the devil on every episode, and then we do real well. So
no,
All
I
right.
changed it up for each one. The
Guys-
one, the one I did for the cigarette episode.
yeah,
I took
where
the
it glows. On
yeah,
the
I took the part. I took the episode where they smoke cigarettes. I took Bobby and Joseph when they're sitting in the trash can.
yeah.
I took just them out of the trash can.
Yeah.
And then I put a really, really like smoky background with them two sitting
Yeah.
there with a cigarette hanging
Yeah.
out of their
That's
mouths,
cool.
looking at the cigarette in Bobby's
That's
head.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
That's
fun.
great.
I've been having fun with it.
that's cool. All right, Mason, you got anything? He shakes his head
And he
into the
shakes
mic.
his head no.
All right, guys, thank you again for joining us, and we will see you again on Monday.
Wimatanye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.